the Wild Card Gym, as well as Marshall Kaufman, who is involved in her career. He's out there with her. You guys are in the bubble. You guys just had the weigh-in. How'd everything go? We'll start with Danielle.
Everything went well. The weigh-in was great. It was a smooth transition. Marshall can talk about a little bit of a hiccup that we had, but so far so good.
Got you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I've read your story. It's quite a story. A couple of years ago, you were involved in a serious automobile accident where I guess you were just crossing the street. You got hit by a car, and you probably didn't think you'd be standing in a professional boxing ring, walking, let alone standing in a professional boxing ring. And you were obviously a decorated amateur boxer, former world champion. To take us through the last few years.
Well, I'm just lucky I found boxing. I enjoy the sport. I didn't think this would be something that I would be doing overall, just because from the accident, rehab was intense for a couple of years. But I love to compete, and I've always loved boxing. I grew up in Brooklyn when Tyson was the man, so my father got every single Tyson fight. I watched every Tyson fight as a child, so I've always loved boxing. Wasn't able to partake due to the fact that I have an intense schedule between high school basketball and, of course, AAU during the summer. So I'm fortunate to have boxing, and I love it.
So you're a natural athlete. You said you played basketball, so you are a natural athlete. Marshall, what can you tell us about her in terms of obviously I know you know a lot about the amateur scene. She was a national amateur champion. What can you tell us about Danielle?
I mean, Danielle has a lot of ability. I mean, you normally don't see. She's not your typical woman boxer, in my opinion. She has ability that you normally don't see in women. So I think she has tremendous power. She has tremendous grit, and she wants to perform at a high level. I think with her ability, she could be fighting for a world championship in 5 to 6 fights tops. So I'm really excited for her career, and I think that she's going to make a lot of noise, and it should be the first woman heavyweight champion. And not only can she fight, she fits the part. She's not fat. She's not out of shape. She lives a good, clean life. So it's going to be fun to watch her grow and make a lot of noise in the heavyweight division.
In past, especially I'd say the past, within the past year, and I credit it. I mean, my opinion, it's because the Olympic movement, the last couple Olympics that had female boxers, there's been more depth in some of these weight divisions where we see some rivalry starting to formulate. In the heavyweight division, the female, that quite hasn't happened yet. You now getting this opportunity to kind of maybe put your flag down in the sport. And as a heavyweight, you feel, especially in America, that this is your opportunity to do that?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, when I went to my first world championship, there isn't much depth in the United States, but there is depth around the world. There were 33 competitors in my first world championship. So there are tons of heavyweights. It's just a matter of they don't see the benefit of going pro. So I plan on being a WBC champion, period, regardless of where the competitors come from. So depth it'll happen. A lot of the girls that I fought were pros. So if they want to transition into, actually being a full-time pro instead of mixing between amateur and pro, I'll be here.
And you mentioned there are a lot of girls around the world. As I looked down the box rec thing, there's a few girls. Some are older. The Laura Ramseys, and so they're in their 50s. I mean, what do you see in terms of maybe the future of the heavyweight division in the United States?
Well, I mean, they're going to either have to fight or retire.
So you're looking to fight them?
I mean, if you want to call yourself a champion, you have to fight.
you feel a platform like tomorrow night? And I want to ask you first about your opponent, Princess Hairston. She's coming in 1-0 as well. So as they say in the trade, she don't know how to lose either. So what give me a scouting report about her.
She definitely doesn't know how to lose because she came in overweight.
Oh,
So she doesn't know
okay.
how to lose weight either.
Yeah. That's Kaufman, Kauffman. That's who said that.
That's right.
So what's her scout report beside her not being able to make weight?
Well, I mean, I actually walked up and I spoke to her, and she didn't know much about me at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked on Box Track. She's only had one fight, period, and it was to a girl who the woman I fought previously knocked out. So it was basically like debut bait. Wasn't a skilled boxer. It was someone just people came in to knock out to say that they had a pro fight. So I'm a seasoned fighter. I fought and beat world champion. So I feel like she should have done her homework, but essentially that's not important to her.
You're from Brooklyn. Who obviously there's a lot of great fighters from Brooklyn. Who's in your training camp or your gym that maybe that in terms of either whether it's male or female fighters, a lot of great female fighters from Brooklyn as well. Amanda Serrano, Heather Hardy, amongst others. And Melissa St. Ville, and some girls in New York that we see on that circuit. Who do you train with?
Well, I trained in Houston. When I was in New York, I trained in at Gleason's, so I know
Okay.
Heather, and I know I know Amanda and Cindy, but they trained at a gym called X Boxing when I was in Brooklyn with Jordan. But I mean, I've sparred with Sonia on numerous occasions.
Sonia Lamonicus, for those who don't know.
When I was in New York. And I've gotten great work in Houston. Now majority of my work comes from male sparring. So I mean, credit to, of course, any female who steps into the ring, but I haven't worked with any of those females recently in this training camp.
And Marshall, I mean, I know you spend a lot of time in Houston. You got that summer home in Houston that you go to. Is that how you got involved with Danielle?
Yes, I mean, of course, I met Danielle at the gym, and got to know her, and I've even gotten to know her even better over the last few months, and she's talented. She has a lot to give to the sport. Not only is she talented, she's very smart. And I think she has more to give uh, outside of the boxing as well, just with her ability to talk and communicate, and I think she can be a great role model to young girls that inspire to be a boxer. And there's plenty of them nowadays. There's more young girls that inspire to be a boxer today than there were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's because of the Olympic movement and everything else. But she's in a good place. There's Marlena Esparza in the gym with her. There's Christian Montana in the gym with her. There's Joe George in the gym, and there's a number of other amateurs that's in the gym as well. And when Travis is in camp, they're also in the gym. So she's in a good place. She has a great coach in James Cooper. So I'm really looking forward to see what else she has. And then she has another stable mate, Darius. What's Darius's last name?
I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Falgum, but Darius is the
He's actually the Olympic. He's actually the
201.
Olympian for 201 as well. So she has a lot of good talent around her as well. But so she has a lot of ability. She works hard, and she lives a good, clean life. And you're going to see some great things coming out of her.
And she's managed by Mark, right?
Right, Marcus.
Mark Taffet, who obviously is the manager of Clarissa Shields, and obviously she's made big moves in boxing, making some bigger moves in MMA. What's that like? You see Mark, he's obviously been able to do good things with Clarissa, and he's behind you, and how's that?
Well, I'll tell you a quick scenario, Mark. What happened was when Danielle fought in Detroit when she made her pro debut. Carissa reached out to Mark and told him to take a look at this girl and watch her, that she was the real deal. Danielle's already managed by Trent Williams and James Cooper. And then Mark contacted me, I think a couple of days after her fight, and we got to talking. And we brought Mark on as an advisor. And I think, of course, I told Danielle all about Mark. She didn't know who Mark was. And I told Cooper and Trent as well the same thing. And I think Mark's a perfect fit. I think Mark has a lot to bring to the table. And Mark was responsible for making this fight happen for tomorrow night on NBC, with his connections. And you and I both know Mark's been around the game a long time.
Absolutely.
So he adds a lot to it. And he reaches out to Danielle pretty often. They talk pretty often. And that's the kind of relationship that Mark builds.
So, I mean, obviously, you have a good team behind you. Longtime boxing man, Marshall Kaufman, who's trained, promoted, managed world champions. How's it feel to have that? And Mark, obviously, with his experience with HBO and now managing fighters and so forth. What's it like to, you have a real whole team? Like you said, Trent Williams, who's one of the best left tackles in the National Football League. You got a whole championship team behind you.
Well, I mean, after I won Worlds, it was one of those things where you just kind of know what to do next, since my weight wasn't an Olympic weight. So Marshall and Coop really took the reins and made things happen. So it really is all a credit to them. Like, all I have to do is fight, and that's pretty much all I ever wanted to do. So they do all the work to make sure things happen, and I'm just grateful to have this team assembled, because majority of the people have no idea what goes on the business side, and they speak very frankly with me and let me know what the reality is, and I appreciate them. Now
that it's here, the fight. What do you want to say to the fans who, probably a lot of them are going to see you for the first time? What do you want to tell the fans out there?
Get your popcorn. It's gonna be a good show.
And where do we find you on social media?
It's Chambers 11221 on Instagram.
Is there a meaning with the Chambers thing, or?
Oh, that's my father's last name.
Okay, that's very interesting. Marshall, before we let you guys go, how do you see this fight playing out?
I see Danielle coming out and not being so excited as she was her pro debut, working behind her jab, feeling things out, and setting up the big shots. And I don't see the fight going the distance. Let me say that. I do see her putting on a great show and performing as a true professional.
Is that important for you, Danielle, to get a knockout?
I mean, I'm a heavyweight. I enjoy knockouts and make the fight easy.
There you
she
go.
Can punch, Mark. She really can.
Well, we definitely look forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing a national television audience live on NBC Sportsnet. We'll get to see it as well. Danielle, thank you for a few minutes of your time. Marshall, I guess. Yeah, thanks. We thank you for a few minutes of your time out in LA, and we look forward to watching tomorrow. We'll talk to you as your career blossoms out. We look forward to following you throughout your journey.
Thank you.
Hey, and it's always great being interviewed by the hardest working PR man in the business.
Well, is that what I wrote when I sent it to you to read? I think there was more on that.
I just hope that I get a discount on my bill.
Danielle, you're lucky that they supply you with food, in the bubble. Because if you were with Marshall, you would have had to dip into your pocket.
Man. I'm trying to get her to buy me something now.
Why does that not shock me? Hey, you guys are in Hollywood. I mean, you guys in Beverly Hills is right down the street, so
Well, we're in a bubble. We can't go anywhere.
One quick question that just came to my mind. I actually talked to Brian Sabaya, who's fighting on the card tomorrow. So it's a pretty unique venue. They're fighting out. You're going to be fighting outside in the parking lot of the Wild Card Gym. I don't know if you saw the first installment of the Ring City USA, but it was pretty cool little atmosphere. I was kidding with Brian yesterday. Just hope he doesn't get distracted by the by the cars beeping in the background.
I think it's a great atmosphere, and I just posted pictures of the setup on my Facebook page because my room, I have a view right to the parking lot as they're setting up the ring, as they're setting up the production, and so it's pretty neat. I'm going to take a picture tonight as well. Hopefully they have the lights on so I can get a good shot of it under the lights as well.
There you go. So again, we wish you best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Make sure you tune in. They can go to Mark. Do you know the?
No, you were supposed to send it to me last night.
I thought I did. Twitch. Gotta go.
Yes.
If you don't have Twitch, log into Twitch and you'll be able to watch Danielle's fight 6:30 Eastern time.
There you go.
Coming on, so make sure you tune in. It won't last long, so don't miss it.
There you go.
Like she said, get your popcorn.
Looks to stay undefeated. Danielle Perkins, thank you for a few minutes of your time, and we'll talk to you along the way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.